The class ledger was added to the class system when it became apparent that a traditional sales ledger's approach to language schools did not provide the necessary layout and ease of operation required by schools. InfoSpeed, in conjunction with qualified accountants, produced the ledger system, which matches accounting principles and maintains system integrity, which has been paramount throughout this process. First, I'm going to show you what the administrators can see with regards to the finance aspect. Under this student, Rodrigo Barbosa, under invoicing, you can see up to the minute accurate information of what the agent owes and what the student owes. Now the balance under these agent and student options is picked up from the ledger, but if a student is asked for an exam fee, the ledger is updated too, so it works both ways. You can jump straight to the agent or the student account if the administrator has permission. The advantage of ledger is that you can use proformas much more, which takes into account people changing their minds and also reduces the amount of credit notes that need producing. You can do your debt chasing on proformas and not just on invoices, although you can do both if you wish, but the proformas won't hit the end of month financial accounts. I'm now going to access the ledger in another manner by clicking on this icon at the top here. All accounts are listed here, but you can select by agents, students, or all, and then click on Find. You can also be selective by school. And like the main part of class, you can also search using the blue column headings along the top here. If you click on Include Balance, this will then show you the overall balance per agent student on this list. So for example, AA Japan, click on Include Balance and Find. Here you can see this column has been added. I am going to use AA Japan as my example today. On the Bookings tab, you can see all students together with their arrival and departure dates, the school that they're attending, which is great for multi-location centres, the currency, please bear in mind that class is fully multi-currency, the total debt of the student, what has already been paid, what remains outstanding, and that outstanding debt split across the various category types. Purple students indicate students who have an account in their own name. So for example, they may have booked and wish to pay for an excursion themselves after the booking was made. A green shading indicates a group of students that this agent is sending, so it's the whole group that the agent owes you money for. If I highlight this top student here and then click on Mini Statement, this will show you in Excel this student's statement, which is especially handy if an agent was to ask for this. On the Ledger tab, you can see what is outstanding up until today's date from an accounting perspective. It also allows you to be selective on what you would like displayed. So for example, you can exclude students who have a future start date. This makes it easy for users to clearly see current and historical debts. Inputting payments received is extremely straightforward, and I'll demonstrate this to you via this Receipts tab. By clicking on Add, you can now add your reference and the type of payment, in this case a credit card payment. Now behind each type there is a nominal ledger code which is useful for your end of month reporting, which I'll show you later. The date is the date that the money was physically received, and received at is the physical location where the money was received, not necessarily where the student is studying. I'm going to add a new payment today of £2,000 and then click on OK. Now this above section is greyed out. I can choose a student underneath to allocate all of that £2,000 to, but in this case I'm going to allocate part of the £2,000. So if I choose this student here and click on Allocate, Class will automatically assume that the whole £2,000 is to be allocated against this student. But if this is not the case, you can change the amount now. So I'm going to allocate £1,000. The allocation rules are predetermined rules which will determine how this £1,000 is split, but if you click on Reset to 0, you can then allocate the whole amount to something specific, for example, tuition. In this case, the allocation rule will be date and then prorated. The difference at the bottom of the screen should now read 0. If this doesn't say 0, you won't be able to leave this screen, so class ensures that you don't make an error. By clicking on OK, you now come back to the previous screen, where you can see on the right that there is still £1,000 unallocated, and at the bottom here under Receipt Analysis, you can see the £1,000 that has been allocated against our existing student. I'm going to allocate a further £400 against Ignacio. So I highlight Ignacio, click on Allocate, change the allocation from 1,000 to 400, leave the allocation rule, click on OK. Now £600 remains unallocated, and the £1,400 against the other two students can be viewed here. This remaining 600 can still be allocated against another student now, or if you don't know which student it's for, it can be left for allocating at a future time. And a receipt for these payments can be produced to be sent to the agent or the students. Mistakes are easily rectified either if the receipt was allocated to the wrong student or if it was put onto the incorrect account. I'll demonstrate how to correct the mistake of the receipt being added to the wrong account. If I close this down, on the Receipts tab here, you can see this most recent payment of £2,000 is listed. To remove this from the account, all you need to do is click on the reverse button here. A message is displayed asking you to confirm this action. If I click on Yes and OK, this transaction has now been removed together with the allocation of £1,400 that I made. Now for audit purposes, this transaction and the reversal are not totally removed from class and can be viewed by unticking the Exclude Reversals tick and then refresh. Any amendments made to a student's enrolment which affects the value of the account will automatically be displayed within the ledger. There is no update procedure required, as class and the class ledger are totally integrated. The information available in the ledger can be incorporated into quick reports for producing your own designed debtors list. A useful report is for a Monday intake list, the arrivals this week outstanding, and this will include any outstanding debts, especially for direct student bookings. You can see the results under this Results tab, and it has also been exported to Excel. Debt chasing is an important part of any sales system, and statements and a debtors list can be produced to assist in this task. First of all, statements. So under Reporting and Statements, statements can be produced from the agent's account or in batch for all or selected accounts. So for this example, we'll produce a relatively detailed statement for the agent AA Japan, including all currencies, schools, and territories. To be able to select by student's arrival date is an important feature, as you probably won't want to be including students who are not due to arrive for a few months. By clicking on Statement, and in this case Excel, the document that will be produced is the one that you would be sending to an agent or a student asking them to pay their outstanding debt. It is for all students who have arrived, and it is their whole debt, whether part paid or not. This is the document that you would send to an agent or a student asking them to pay their outstanding debt. It is for all students who have arrived, and it is their whole debt, whether part paid or not. Once sent to Excel, it can be sent to the agent as an attachment to chase the students for payment. A summary statement would look similar to the following. Now to move on to the debtors lists or age debt report. Again, this will be for AA Japan. It will be detailed and up until the end of September 2015. A list of all students that the agents owe money for is displayed, including other useful information such as arrival, departure dates and due date. The total is displayed in column L and payments received in column M, while the total outstanding is in column N. To the right of this, the debt is aged. The list can be aged by arrival date, as is the case here, by agent terms, the duration of the student's stay, or for money due for services received up until today's date, all of which can be managed here. We will now look at the nominal general ledger aspects of class ledger, starting off with the nominal analysis, which is a report that will include all the figures necessary for input into your internal accounting system. For this example, we'll produce a report for the September accounts. This will include all invoices, credits, receipts and adjustments carried out in the month of September. Column G gives your nominal or general ledger code with a description alongside it. Column J gives the totals for each of the codes. It lists all your nominal ledger codes and how much you have invoiced and received within these codes. So you can see, for example, how much you have invoiced for pocket money, tuition, enrolment fees, and so on. So this is invoices, credits, receipts, and payments to families. In column J, when an amount is positive, this is what you've invoiced out. When it's a negative amount, this is what you have received. This report can also be produced in detail for audit purposes, which will give you every entry that makes up the figures, and all reports can be backdated and reprinted. The totals can be input into your own accounting system either manually as journals or by use of a class accounting export program. This is, of course, providing that your existing accounting system accepts the import of information via a CSV file. Some of the other reports that you can obtain from the class ledger are listed in front of you. The data debt allows you to produce a report that lists by account what money is due or paid in advance for services received up until a particular date. Again, using AA Japan as an example, this is a proper accounting report that you would typically run at the end of the year and reconcile with your QuickBooks and Sage. Together with your totals at the bottom. Other examples of integrated reports are receipt reporting, which helps you to balance your accounts by producing a list of all receipts put on in a particular time period. This will list all payments received and by which type, and is handy because you can select by type, meaning that when you get your credit card bill, for example, you can check off their bank charges against this report. class also has control totals to ensure that there are no issues with the integrity of the ledger, which of course is paramount to any accounting system. One final report that you might be interested in is what we would call deferred sales. Displayed on the screen is an example of this. This is showing you the weekly figures for August 2015, with column H giving the deferred total for each of the items, with the grand total at the bottom. So in essence, how much money has been invoiced out per week in August 2015.